Here's what you said. Ray, I think it should be privatized so individuals can manage the funds. It would not be rated by political parties to manage cash shortfalls in the budget. All righty. Joining us now is David Rare, business management and politics professor at George Washington University. He supports privatization. Mark Levine, Democratic policy analyst who says the government should keep control, does not. Mark, start with you. Why is it that Democrats seem to always want the government to run anything? You don't want individuals to have any ownership at all in their retirement. Why is that?
You know, Larry, individuals already have things called 401ks and IRAs. I'm sure you know about them. They're retirement plans. One of the things that you teach and that all Wall Street analysts teach is you have to diversify your funds. Sure, you want to play in the stock market, that's fine, but have a guaranteed benefit. And this idea that people who retire in one year should have twice the benefits of people who retire in the other year because the stock market's up or down doesn't make sense. Social Security is insurance. It's a guarantee. It's a guarantee for old age. It's a guarantee for disability. It's a guarantee if you die and you leave minor children. This is the only guarantee you've got. There used to be a game show called You Bet Your Life.
You're saying it's a guarantee. But hey, David, most people my generation are pretty convinced that there's no chance that that, quote, guarantee is going to be there for them. Isn't that part of the frustration here?
Well, that's right. The market is eventually going to force the privatization of Social Security because of demographic change. The fact that 90% of payroll receipts are paid out immediately to recipients. We just don't have the cash flow to sustain this this program.
And you know, Mark, I just want to come back to this point. I agree a bit about the insurance, but I want to give people choice so that government doesn't spend my payroll tax revenues that I pay in. There is no Al Gore lockbox. There is not.
That's right,
now,
and there should
be.
There
never was, and you'll never have it unless
you have an
people
individual
can take ownership. That's what I want to ask you. How can you stop government from spending your payroll tax revenues without allowing individuals to own their own accounts? How can you do it?
Well, Al Gore proposed exactly the way. George Bush broke into Al Gore's lockbox and stole all the money, right? Gave it all to the rich people and to unnecessary wars like Iraq. We do need a lockbox. I agree with you on that, Larry. And the thing is, I have to say, Trish, don't worry. Your funds are guaranteed. The Republicans have been trying to destroy Social Security since Alf Landon. They won't succeed as long as the Democrats remain in power.
So why not have an individual lockbox, David, where I know that my money, every dollar I put in, is money that I will someday, when I retire, get back? A real lockbox for every individual.
Right. Well, that's how people originally thought of Social Security in 1935 when the age of death was 65.5 years and the system you paid into it till you were 65. Now we've gone up to a life expectancy of 75 years. We're only paying up to 65 years. There's going to be an economic problem there. Furthermore, one way we could solve this problem, Larry, is put the trustees under the same laws that every corporate pension officer has to be under, and you're going to see a lot of changes.
You mean fiduciary? ERISA penalties for bad fiduciary management.
Absolutely.
That's why. And Mark, speaking of fiduciary management, look, all right. Stock market hasn't had a bad 10 years, but you could buy.
Sure, it has. The last 10 years.
You can buy.
I've been even.
You can buy FDIC bank deposits. You can buy Ginnie Mae's guaranteed by the government. You can diversify into emerging markets, foreign stocks, China. You're going to get such a lousy rate of return from Social Security. Everybody knows that. So why not allow individuals ownership and choice and responsibility for their own diverse portfolio? Why not?
Because, Larry, if they guess wrong and they put all their shares in Enron and then they end up destitute on the street, you and I as taxpayers are going to have to pay for them,
Mark,
right?
I don't mean to interrupt. But
if
Mark,
you require
my point to you is
benefits,
diversification. Diversification.
Yes. Are you going to require that by law?
Please address that. That's what I'm trying to get. Are you going to require
that by law, Larry? Because if you are, you pretty much got the system you have now.
That's what they did in Chile. Mark, that's what they did in Chile. They did exactly that. So if you were older, you put your money into a private account, and the law required you to select conservative investments.
And
if you were younger, you had a lot more choice.
And if you're hit by a car, you're out of luck. You just die, I guess.
No, it goes to your heirs.
I mean,
it goes to your heirs. It goes to your heirs. But no, but you need the money now because you're disabled and you're sick. Social Security provides you that insurance. Or say you're 95 and you run out of money. I guess you just die, right? But Social Security provides you that insurance. You see, Social Security is social. We all look out for each other, and it's secure. It's a guaranteed benefit. And it seems to me the only thing that you folks want to change is you want to make it antisocial and insecure.
All right, antisocial. David, let me ask you this. In terms of the accounting, when are we running out of money in Social Security?
Well, in just a few minutes, the trustees are going to announce a report which is 4 months late, which shows that after about 2013, we're going to start buying or selling the securities to pay the recipients. Payroll tax receipts are low because of the recession. We're going to be, by 2042, we're going to technically be insolvent if you'd apply the same rules to corporations that you apply to Social Security. But this is just all a gigantic shell game. To Mark's point about being social, there's nothing social about promising Americans something through the government that they can't just keep their promise with because of the economics.
Also, to Mark's point, and I keep going back to Chile because that's really the purest form that we've seen of privatized Social Security. Mark, they do have a system there, a safety net to catch people that aren't part of this. But the reality is the majority of people that are tax-paying citizens are part of it. And it seems to me that at least you start with the premise that money you put in is money that you will get back. It's an individual account. Why can't we do something similar here?
The way Social Security has worked for 75 years, as you well know, is that young people put in the system and elderly people take it out. It's called the legacy debt. So what you're going to have to do if you folks get your way is either raise taxes, payroll taxes, cut benefits on current retirees, or cut benefits on future retirees. My way, leave it alone. Everything works fine. It has for 75 years. It will continue unless you change it.
Up.
Everything's not working fine, my friend.
Sure it is.
If it were working fine, we wouldn't be having this discussion. The ratio...
The discussion is a fake discussion. It works fine.
The ratio of retirees to beneficiaries is collapsing.
That's
and the government has essentially spent your Social Security tax payments on general spending for the big budget. So people are saying, wait a minute, I want to have ownership. I just don't offer it as an option. Okay, Mark? You can have your big government plan, but why don't you let responsible people have the option?
I'll tell you why,
Larry, having an option?
Because
it's called freedom and free choice.
And if people opt out and oh and behold they get disabled and they need money, then there's a choice of letting them die. If we don't let them die, then we taxpayers have to take the burden for people making stupid bets.
Well,
if
it would probably be less of a burden than the one we're facing right now.
It's a much greater burden because then everyone invests in those junk bonds you're talking about, right? Because if it makes a return, they get a higher return, and if it fails, they know that we taxpayers have to take care of them.
David, why is he wrong? You're shaking your head.
Mark, it's just absurd to think that we're going to let people die in America. I mean, that's just the discussion on Social Security is always, well, if we give people choice and we allow them to invest in the market, which has created the greatest wealth in the history of mankind, that is somehow bad. That's just absurd.
Let's leave it.
No one's taking away 401ks and IRAs in the stock market. It will exist just fine. But you just admitted that we're not going to let people starve.
Right.
If we're not going to let them starve, we're going to have to pay for people who make bad bets.
We have all sorts of other welfare programs that'll take care of people. Interestingly enough, the wealthiest demographic in America today are senior citizens.
And in the 1930s, it was the poorest demographic, right?
Let's leave it there,
Social
gentlemen.
Security changed that.
The debate lives on.